Fabrizio Romano has just confirmed that Gundogan will sign for Barcelona on a 2-year deal on a free transfer. This is crazy news. Just broke. Let's get straight into it. G, as a Real Madrid fan, how are you feeling about Barcelona signing Gundogan?
I'm kind of surprised Barca actually signed somebody, but then when I double looked at it, it was a free transfer. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's a gimme. But look, I like Ilkan Gundogan. I think he's a very good player, but I kind of don't. If it were my club, I'm kind of iffy about his age here. He's 32 years old. He's no spring chicken here, but he's a free transfer. I mean, it can't hurt to get him. But they signed him on a 2-year deal. He'd be about 34 when the deal's up, and I don't know. I just don't think he moves the needle that much. He's not one of those signings that where it's like, oh, Barcelona are really revamping. They're batting down the hatches here. It's just one of those, a signing that's out there. You make it, and it just makes them a little bit deeper. I don't think he starts. He's not going to be an in and out starter, but he's a nice player to have, especially when they're trying to make a push in the Champions League, and they're obviously always in contention to win La Liga. You need depth. You need to be able to switch out that midfield. But this is definitely not the Busquets replacement that some Barca fans want to make it seem. Like, oh, Gundogan, Busquets is gone. Now we have Gundogan. They're completely different players. They're not going to do anywhere near the same role. And I don't think Gundogan is going to be that same form that he had towards the end of his Man City run here. Because look, if he kept that, then he's one of the greatest midfielders of all time. That's not happening. He's gonna fall back down to earth a little bit. He's still gonna be a decent player, but nowhere near that peak form. He's basically like some prime Zidane towards that. When there's trophies on the line, he turns into prime Zidane. But I don't think he's gonna have that same success at Barcelona. It's a little bit, I won't say completely different system, but they're not Man City. This Barcelona are not Manchester City, so it's gonna be a completely different feel for him. So we'll have to see it. I'm not really bothered by it. It doesn't really. I don't not that concerned per se, but I think it's a solid signing for a Barca. I mean, if there were any other team, I'd say that's a pretty decent signing.
Yeah. Look, I kind of agree, but I don't agree at the same time with what you're saying here. To me, this is a fantastic signing from Barcelona. They are getting a player that can immediately step in and play the Barcelona way, given his experience under Pep Guardiola, of course. He's going to have no issues transitioning to Barcelona like some players do. And I look at Barcelona now and I say, their midfield is absolutely loaded. De Jong, Pedri, Gavi, and now Gundogan. Realistically, all they need is a true defensive midfielder, a true Busquets replacement. And I'm not sure about the financial situation of Barcelona, of course, but if they are able to sign Kimmich, who they are heavily linked to right now, for me, they are no doubt contenders to win the
Kimmich,
Champions League. Yes, they are heavily linked to Kimmich right now. I'm not saying Barcelona
you're
will
gonna
win the
you're gonna
Champions League,
sign him and
but
hope
they
for
are no
dreams.
doubt a threat to do it, depending on injuries, of course. Realistically, you get Kimmich into the club, and maybe you sign another winger. Obviously, everyone thought Messi was going to be the guy that would return. Obviously, that didn't happen. Ferran Torres is not going to cut it. We don't really know what's going on with Ansu Fati. Dembele is good when he's playing, but he
When he
always seems to
plays.
be unlucky with injuries. And of course, I do like Rafinha. He's a very good player. But for me, they need to bring in a true difference maker on the wing for this team. And if they're able to do that, they're going to be very tough to beat. They had the best defense in the world last season, statistically speaking. And like I said, their midfield is loaded. It just depends on the attack. We saw last season, they grinded out a lot of 1-0 games. For me, they need to be a bit more potent in attack. I know Xavi wants to be more potent in attack. That's kind of the Barcelona way. They want to score goals. They want to play beautiful football. That's like their style, of course. But they are saying reportedly that this is just the beginning of what's to come in the transfer window. So ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see. But to me, this is a statement signing that they are going to compete next season because they're getting a player in Gundogan who, even if he's not able to carry on the form that he did with Man City at the end of the season, where he was looking like Man City's best player towards the end of the season, scoring 2 goals in the FA Cup final, carrying them to that. Obviously, we saw what he did throughout the entire season. Pretty much, he's just been a brilliant player for Man City. Pep said in the interview he didn't want to lose Gundogan because of what he offers to the team. He's a brilliant player. And to me, this is a fantastic signing for Barca. You can't really go wrong. He's a free transfer. You know what I mean? You can't really go wrong with it. Even if he's not going to be a out-and-out starter every match because their midfield is pretty loaded, of course, he's still a good player to have in your squad. I mean, you need depth to win the Champions League. You need depth to win the best trophies, of course. So to me, as a depth piece, this is fantastic. You can't really beat this signing. Good move from Barcelona. It just depends for me. If they really want to compete and win the Champions League like they say they do, they need a little bit more. And, given their financial state, their situation, you just never really know what's going on at Barcelona. You know what I mean? Can they realistically pull off a Joshua Kimmich move? They say that they can, but
Absolutely
I don't
not.
know if they can. But if they do that, then we're talking about a team that is serious contenders for winning the Champions League. But it remains to be seen if they can make that happen. I don't know if they can. That's what they say they can, though. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, look, I just think that's just full of shit. There's no possible way they're gonna sign Joshua Kimmich. I don't know what they plan to offer the transfer fee, hopes and dreams or something. It's not happening. But if let's just be in a fantasy world real quick, yeah, that would be a perfect signing because he's not Sergio Busquets, but he plays that center defensive mid role very well, and he's just a top level footballer, but. I think that's what is definitely going to hurt Barca the most next season, not having that Busquets, because I don't think they're going to get much. So they're going to be missing a vital piece, and arguably, I mean that Sergio Busquets piece was their most important role in the whole damn team
Yeah.
when they were successful, because
Yeah.
no one else could play that role. I don't know any other footballer that's ever played the game that could really play that role because it wasn't. It was just such a different like. It's hard to describe because it's not like he was a pure defensive. He wasn't like a Casemiro. This guy was like
he was so good in possession.
yeah, he was just like an infusion of like a Casemiro and an Iniesta, a guy who could hold the ball, build up play, but also he can defend. It's just something I think is going to be almost impossible to replace, but they're going to have to adapt. They're going to have to change how they just play. I think that's just the easier way to look at it. They're going to have to just change and hope it works, which I'm kind of going to guess it's not going to work, but we'll just have to see. Like I said with you, Ilkay Gundogan is out there. He's a free agent. You get him. I mean, that's just as simple it is. But like signing players for actual money, I don't think Barca's really in that business. As much as they want to say, look, I think their president has to be worried about laying off the hamburgers before he has to making some signings, bro. He's looking big there, lad. So I think you got other things to worry about, buddy.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, that's the thing with Barcelona. I mean, obviously, if they weren't in this financial mess, I would say that this team is very close to winning the Champions League. And obviously, even given the financial mess, I think that they are closer than some people give them credit for. But ultimately, in order to take the team over the top, you have to make a big money signing, whether that's a Joshua Kimmich or whether that's, a big money winger, whoever it is going to be. They have to make one more top level signing. For me, well, yeah, if they were able to, that's a whole different conversation. I mean, look, Xavi has come out and said multiple times that they aren't looking to bring in Neymar, but then reports still come out saying that some board members want Neymar. If Neymar somehow went back to Barcelona, I don't care if it was a permanent transfer, a loan, whatever, that would be perfect. Because they need a top level winger. They need a winger that can actually,
how are you going to talk? Oh, I said that as almost a joke, but how are you going to talk about, Dembele's consistent and talk about Neymar?
Yeah. Look, obviously, it's another injury-prone player, but I look, like I said, that they need another top-level winger for me because they have Robert Lewandowski, they have Ousmane Dembele, who when he's fit is brilliant, of course. But then Fati, can you really trust him? We don't really know what's going on with Fati. Ferran Torres is just not great. He needs to be sold. And then I like Rafinha, but I don't know if you're winning a Champions League with Dembele, Lewandowski, and Rafinha. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe Rafinha. You need a guy. I think you need someone who's a bit better. You know what I mean? Because we're talking about winning the Champions League here. If that's that's their goal, of course. Obviously it's not easy to win the Champions League, but if they want to contend for it, I think as it stands right now, look, they're not getting out in the group stages again. That's not going to happen. So at least you're going to do better than what you did last season.
Yeah, I mean,
but if we're talking, but I think the Champions League is for me, it's kind of looking wide open right now. So that's why I think if Barcelona, if they have the opportunity to sign a Joshua Kimmich, they should go all in right now. Because Man City, they just lost Gundogan. They're going to lose potentially Bernardo Silva, and obviously we don't know who they're going to sign to replace those guys. But they are going to get a bit weaker, not much weaker, but a bit weaker. You look at Real Madrid, they just their squad is very good, but then they have Joselu up top, and you can't win a Champions League with Joselu. I'll say it before, and I'll say it again. You're not going to win a Champions League with Joselu up top. Bayern Munich aren't as strong as they've been in the past. Who else is really out there? Arsenal aren't winning the Champions League. You know what I mean? So what? Man United, they are winning the Champions League. So the Champions League to me is looking a little bit wide open. If they make a top level signing, a Joshua Kimmich, they could actually do it. They could contend for it. So I think they should go all in. If they have the opportunity, I don't know what more financial levers they can pull. I don't know if they can get Spotify to send them some more money. I don't know. But if they have the chance, they should pull the trigger and make it happen in any way, shape, or form possible because they have a chance. Let's just be realistic. To win a Champions League, you have a strong defense. Barcelona, they don't leak goals. Very strong defensively. They have Ter Stegen, who one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the world last season. I still think there's so many good goalkeepers, but Ter Stegen is one of the best, if you don't want, or the best. You know what I mean?
Not the
And their midfield is strong, and it just comes down to the attack isn't as potent. So it just depends. But I think Barcelona, they have a chance, so they should go all in. I think.
I mean, look, if somehow they scrap the money, if all the board members pull out loans in their own names, maybe they go for it, you know. But look, we'll just have to see. It's something that we'll have. I mean, it's still pretty early in the transfer window, so we'll have to see. We'll see what teams. It's hard to call right now, who's going to be in the Champions League final or who's going to make a deep run, because a lot of teams are trying to make moves right now. I mean, God knows what's going to happen with United or Arsenal or even Chelsea for that matter. But
Chelsea aren't in the Champions League.
I kind of forgot. But look.
Oh yeah.
But look, there's a lot of teams that are going to be making moves, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, and look, it's a developing story. You know what I mean? Obviously, Barcelona now officially signed Gundogan, but we're going to continue to follow the transfer window and see what other moves they can make, if any, of course. And obviously, we'll have to wait and see. So, subscribe to the channel for more content related to the transfer window as the news develops. There's new news coming out every single day. Fabrizio is working 20 hours a day, he said, to bring out all the transfer news. So, he's grinding so that he can pump up the transfer news so that we can make videos on it. So subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on the video. Drop a comment down below. Do you think Barcelona are contenders for the Champions League next season like I do? Or, am I wrong and then they're going to get bounced out in the round of 16 or maybe even the group stages again? Let me know in the comments down below.
Yes.
But without further ado, I think we can go ahead and wrap up this video.
Let's get out of here.
So I'm Zach.
I'm G.
And we'll see you all next time for another video on the channel.